Hey Mexicans, welcome back to this new video where today we're going to be looking at what if the Dutch Empire came into our real world. But instead of going with the colonial empire or anything, we're going to be looking at this mainland, which progressively we'll get is colonial empire. But it'll be different from the Wixo series because we're going to be looking at alternate history basically. So we're going to be looking at each era of the world with the Dutch Empire in its center, and some of it will have the same colonies it gets each time. So yeah, let's begin with this scenario because this will be fun. Also, by the way, yes, I know Britain doesn't have London, and I know they've been weakened to that point. But they will still have their empire. Just wait. Also, let's just say this. For the sake of this scenario, and for the sake of the history not being completely erased, France and Germany will still have its core power. But Germany will just have a little different scenario for when World War One and World War Two happen. Now, I do believe that the Berlin Conference will go differently, as instead of the Berlin Conference, it'll be the Amsterdam Conference, and we'll see that soon. So yeah, let's take a look at the eras. Okay, so basically the rule is that the world events will still happen the same, but the colonies of the Dutch Empire will be kept until modern day. So, basically what we have here is the Dutch taking all of Florida along with all of the Louisiana territory. It did take a little bit longer to get this in, but yeah. So this is the Dutch colonial empire. So the Indonesian colony, just like regular Netherlands, will be colonized by them. Along with that, the Germans lost the World War, and they don't really have an existing country anymore. And Czechia also doesn't, due to being small. So yeah, the German colonies were kept, and the Guyana area here was also kept. And French Guiana is still a French thing, sure, but it's smaller than it would normally be, because this is what ended up with the whole American colonialism game. The Dutch got more land because they were the closest. Now let's see, what would an alternate future scenario with these areas be like? With the provinces, by the way, with the provinces. So the U.S. no longer exists for this empire to make sure it can, well, grow, but it will probably face a coalition eventually. But first up, I'm not gonna be able to undo this, so. Actually, maybe I can. I just need to do a smaller brush. I was gonna recreate the whole map for the whole colonial era, but I got a little lazy, so I just wanna finish this up by doing this. But yeah, this empire has set visions for its territory. The French states are kind of forced to be puppeted by the Dutch Empire. Then next up, Poland. If we can quickly look at the capital map, Which give me a second to pull it into the video. So if we look at the capital map, Poland is vulnerable. Sure, they have like 3 cities left, but the capital is so close to the dang Dutch border that honestly, I wouldn't have any doubts that Poland is not going to survive this. They take over... Shit, wrong color. There we go. They take over the Danzig area. They capture Warsaw fast. And they take over that part. Eventually, Poland is split in half and will be forced to surrender. And with that, we can take a look at a peace treaty. Now, they don't want all of Poland. Don't get that up. But they want a lot of it. And, as you can see, yeah, that's a good chunk of Poland. And the rest of this, the rest of Poland kind of becomes into a puppet state. I think a little lighter color would work for this scenario. Like that, yeah. Now, as for Slovakia, they're honestly just given an ultimatum and done with because they kind of want to fix this border up with the whole Polish thing. So they're asking to give this land over to the Dutch, and Slovakia has no choice but accepting. And well, now they're even more at risk, but yeah. And oh god, Hungary, don't do that. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that was fair. And also, with no hesitation, they simply walk into Austria and take what they want. Since they're close to the capital and they already captured it, there's no resistance in actually doing such a thing. So they captured this part of Austria here. And who's gonna yet again take some scraps? Ah, that's right, Hungary again. It's always Hungary, bro. But yeah, anyway, now that we don't have to deal with Austria anymore. Now we're given Now we're given an ultimatum for Switzerland. Now, the capital of Switzerland is pretty close to danger. So if Switzerland doesn't agree to this, they're gonna be screwed. Yeah, so I thought, Switzerland. You do not want to mess with the Dutch Empire, because when you mess with the Dutch Empire, you mess with the Dutch Empire. And yeah, that's not really a good thing. However, some countries are getting angry at the Dutch Empire's ways. So a coalition happens. Russia's involved, and well, the CSTO basically, but also Russian allies are pretty much to coalitionize. Even China is a part of this. And yeah, places like Ukraine who are in danger decide to join this temporarily. Also, places who just got... Yeah, Switzerland joins that. Italy also joins it. Corsica too. I don't know why they're still independent. But Hungary, Romania, and Moldova, they basically pretty much surround the Dutch on the European front. There's still a couple front lines open, though. And they'll take advantage of the open game. First up, the British. Yeah, as much as I hate to say it, they are dead. There's not really anything else noteworthy in the UK besides London now. And London is already under the frickin' Dutch. So what is the capital of the UK? Which is the thing that is threatened the most besides London in the UK? Well, honestly, if I had to guess, the second most, it would probably be Birmingham. That would be pretty important to capture in this war. And Birmingham is pretty dang close to Wales. Now, granted, yeah, that gets captured pretty dang quickly. And as that happens, Cornwall declares independence. Ark of Wales. It's Scotland and Northern Ireland. Yeah, this thing's broken like a jigsaw puzzle. It's not gonna get fixed. And there will be some changing of borders. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so in this peace treaty, Northern Ireland rejoins Ireland. Scotland, Wales, and Cornwall are declared independence. And the rest of England is given to the Dutch Empire. And it is here where finally the European gap is closed off as all these countries join in, and now they can't expand anywhere in Europe. But where else can they go? Well, they have their colonial fronts. However, they're not really interested in expanding in Africa, if anything. They more so just do stuff with the scraps that just wouldn't last on its own. Louisiana wouldn't last long. Wyoming definitely wouldn't. Places like Colorado just decide to join Utah. And also New Mexico and Arizona kind of unite in that too. Just to help the economies of these states further. But the state map of this thing is still the four corners, so they still do that. Well, places like Montana don't last long at all. It's just not sustainable for them. Along with that, this portion of Montana also can't last on its own. And yeah, this whole area gets pretty much fixed. That's as far as the American front will go. It expanded to the scraps of remaining countries that can't sustain well on its own. And Texas can still survive. They still have a lot of their population. Yeah, Texas can still survive. But we'll take a look at Guyana real quick. Because they're actually they're actually more interested in just, yeah. That was also a condition under the whole France puppet thing, so yeah, now that's a part of the Dutch Empire now. And along with that, Panama gets seized, and the Panama Canal is used for profit. But yeah, now finally the full war of the whole coalition begins invading the Dutch Empire. And well, honestly, they'll do well at first. At first, though, because this is an odd like, this is not gonna be winnable in the future. But they'll do well in certain areas before they get pushed back. For example, Spain. These are mostly the French puppets' doings, but Spain isn't really that strong, considering that what's happened to them historically. It still happens to them, and they get cut off from Galicia and stuff, but they still hold on. They hold a defensive front here. And then in places like Sweden, they capture Stockholm, but they don't give up. They also take Oslo, but again, they don't give up as they hold a defensive front to hold off these troops. Switzerland is kind of dead upon arrival because, honestly, that capital is way too damn close for comfort. And as that happens, we're going to ignore the Alps, but they capture northern Italy, and the front's held there. But they capture Kaliningrad, and they pretty much go around the Baltics, as this whole area just isn't sustainable as this whole area just isn't like, the armies have not arrived as of yet. But they push it to Hungary and they capture the capital. And, well, yeah. But, however, a front line will be eventually made in this area. This is as far as the Dutch Empire goes. No, not that far. This is as far as the Dutch will ever go in the front line, and that's just because, well, for one, Chinese armies and Russian armies are holding this off, and second of all, oh my god, this is way less than the frickin' German offensive. So, this is way less than World War II Germany. And, yeah, now Europe's armies have arrived now frickin' Asia's armies have arrived to pretty much penetrate. They're not focused on taking out the colonies. As if they take out the source of power, which is the Dutch, then the colonies will just end up being released. So they push back in Eastern Europe. They recapture Romania. They get back into that. And Poland is also kind of, yeah, Poland is liberated. And now what happens is, fuck. Why does this keep happening? You mess around to find out with these stupid things. Okay, there we go. Okay. They also pushed back in this area. And the puppet state has been taken over. One of them at least. It just leaves the French one, which will be pushed back. And eventually the French state is being invaded. The French puppet states are done for. So now it's time for the Dutch Empire to fall back. They re-liberate Warsaw. And that's what they do. They re-liberate Vienna. They re-liberate, I think, Prague. They re-liberate Berlin. And, well, yeah. Everything gets re-liberated. The Dutch are kicked out of the Nordics. And now we will have the collapse of the Dutch Empire. So England declares independence. And all the other colonies declare independence, so Cameroon and all that. Yep, they're gone. And now we can take a look at a huge peace treaty which will finally solve the Dutch Empire's mess. Okay, so in this peace treaty, we have the Dutch being reduced in Europe as Germany gets independence and Denmark and Poland and all that goes over back to the countries, except for Hungary, who's pulling an Austria-Hungary type vibe apparently. I don't know what they're doing. But France, they don't get their whole core. Like, this part is basically core Dutch territory. France never owned it in that timeline. So what they get is this part, but then this part gets relinquished to Italy. Just to make the borders look cleaner. And then yes, it still and yes, the Dutch Empire still has colonies. It's still a power. But the core colonies that stay with the Dutch Empire is the Guyana colony and the Indonesian colony. The rest, like the African colonies, have all been given independence. So the Cameroon, the Tanzanian, and the Namibia. And also, like, they had Florida and they connected to that with Louisiana. However, Florida got independence. Mississippi and Alabama relinquished their claims. And Louisiana got itself independence under the Louisiana Territory. So yeah, this is Louisiana now. That's how it's staying. However, though, I think that the whole Louisiana Territory thing is gonna end up fracturing. Eventually. Because places like Colorado and New Mexico have lost this part. And along with that, I mean, most of these countries are fine with being under Louisiana, but the places that probably don't, the places that want to be a part of their countries again is probably Texas. So you could be seeing Texas relinquish its claims, and along with that, the Four Corners Union has some claims they want to. And honestly, Canada might not even care about this land, I'm not gonna lie. They have the rest of their population anyway. Also, these areas could pose a problem as they haven't been under Dutch Empire for too long. Now, granted, some of these areas kind of overlap in a way, so I don't think it's going to be anything special, but yeah, but with that, that's the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a new video. Peace out.